James Melendez, James the Wine Guy. Stay tuned for a reflection on 2014. Stay tuned for this video vlog, my weekly feature. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for this. I think 2014 was a remarkable year, a hard year, and in fact, I don't know any year that's easy. I hear a lot of people say, oh, I can't wait to get rid of this year, and I say to myself, and I often say to them, wow, you're really pretty courageous. And one is looking back at the past year saying, oh, it was a terrible year, and I can understand, I can relate. I think I've been there, and I think I probably said something very similar. But I also think in terms of looking forward, that's even scarier because you don't know what's really going to happen. Nobody does, obviously. Even if you have lots of money and wealth and privilege and so forth, you never know what the year is going to bring. But I think that's a really, to have optimism about the next year is important. You really have to look forward to the future. You really can't just be shy about it or be fearful of it. And, I remind people about that. Sometimes I get a positive response. People are like, yeah, I see what wow, I didn't realize I was saying that. Or I didn't realize that's what it truly means. And, some thank you point outs occur. I don't expect that. I'm not really, garnering towards that or hoping for that. But I think, I even say it to myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm looking forward to the next year. Even though, it's also to be positive to say that, well, maybe the previous year you're in is not a great year. I also think it's better to look at the next year as being better. I think that's the human spirit. That's where we're from. That's where we're going to and towards. So 2014 has been a great year, a good year. A perfect year? No, not at all. Far from it. There's things that are in my life plan and my map. And by not getting there is not necessarily a failure. It's just really, I need to put more pedal to that metal, if you will. I need to keep moving forward. And I can't, I met certain people in my life this year in 2014 that are really pivotal. I'm not going to point them out because, I don't really think they realize the significance they've had on my life. Maybe I'll point that out to them much later in the future. But I think in some people's examples to me have been absolute courage where, fearlessness. I probably have said to one person, I said, you are the most amazing person because you're absolutely fearless in everything you do. And, I don't mean fearlessness in terms of doing things with maybe ignorance, but doing things with confidence. There's a difference, right? And I think that's the garnering of where we come from. And I look to those people, by the way, with absolute, delight and also with reverence and like, my gosh, I need to follow that path even more. I may have a little bit of that or a lot of that. I need more of that. So it's a fantastic year. So, the optimism in 2015 is going to be not just a repeat year. I don't want a repeat year. I want a better year. But one thing that's been great this year, and this year has been probably less travel than I've done in the year previous, though I do a lot of travel and I enjoy every single moment of it. In fact, sometimes I like being away from my home base in San Francisco. Surprise, surprise. I probably would have said opposite years ago. And that's because I feel like when I'm away, I feel like I grow more. I feel like I'm challenged more in a positive way. I feel like I get a different worldview. And that is a very, very positive moment for me. I think it's harder being back because you're back in, I look at maybe a certain situation, say technology, where I'm stuck right now in something. And I come back to that. It doesn't mean I put my head in the sand, so to speak, but it's really to be like, oh yeah, that challenge when I get back, that's going to be a lot of fun. And I think sometimes maybe travel might take you away from that in some instances, and I never recognized that before. It's also to connect with people you love. It's great if you do, but I think there's 1/10 of 1% of the population on the planet has that. But it's really to keep that moving forward and focused and reinforced. And I think there's certain people in my life where I try to, text message or call 3 or 4 or 5 times a week. It's really important for me to make that connection. So this year's been a better year for that. So I think those are proof positive markers of progress. So this year I tasted wines, say from the Kingdom of Jordan, Turkey, and Peru. And so I never tasted a wine from the Kingdom of Jordan before, so I was really excited about that. Tasting a wine from Turkey, I have tasted it before, but featured it here. Tasted a wine from Peru, first time from Michigan, first time tasting a spirit, a gin from New Mexico. Tasted a lot of great coffees this year. I've had the best depth and variety of wines in this year. which has been fantastic. The most elevated, most artistically winemaker-driven wines. I did my first review of tea this year. Continuation of the spirit of the beverage art forms of sake, gin, and beer. And I accomplished 519 videos. And it wasn't about the number. It was about the total net, an actual net of going out there, seeking content, bringing that in, and highlighting that, writing about it, and thinking about how did I increase 25%, say, compared to the previous year. And that was in some ways accidental, and in other ways, when I get to the year number 2000th video, that's pretty planned at this point. Why be so close and not really want to get there? Not have a particular video in mind. I have actually reached out to people I know to do a collaborative video. So it may not be that 2000th video. It's been a fantastic year. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for being part of my community. List your questions and comments down below. I'd love to know what your thoughts are, maybe on what I've done, what I haven't done, maybe things that that you found to be valuable in your life that you've learned on your own. So stay tuned for more. Let's build a greater community. And we got more ahead in 2015. And let's connect on a variety of social medias: Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Pinterest, LinkedIn, as well as Instagram and WordPress. Thank you so much for watching today. Stay tuned for more. Salud.